Hi, hello, it is I, Julian Greystoke, author and developmental editor, and today I am here with a tag for you. Now you might be moaning and groaning because everyone's over tags. Oh my gosh, Julian, no one does tags anymore. Listen, we do sometimes, okay? We do sometimes. This is a little known tag. I'm like getting in on the ground floor. 8 million people haven't done this one yet, so I'm excited, all right? I saw it and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to get in on this tag action every now and then. I think it's a really good way to find out more about a creator and their work. This tag is all about your books, my books, so we're gonna do it. This is my book tag, where we talk all about our books. And I'm actually going to be talking about all of the books that are in my most recent publishing journey. I did publish one other book many years ago, it feels like forever ago, that is still available, but I'm going to be focusing on the ones from more recently where I have, around 2020 or so, a little before that, decided to reinvigorate my self-publishing journey and really get into it. So these are the books from that. So the first question is pretty easy. What is the title of your book? And we have them right here for you. We have Adventurer Mage, Boots, The Wolf and the Hawk, and brand new Second Floor. This is my proof copy. One of my proof copies. I need to get 80 million proofs to get it right. The next question is, what genre is it? Well, Second Floor is a contemporary supernatural thriller. Then we have The Wolf and the Hawk, which is a fantasy romance. Boots, which is a fairy tale retelling, very family-friendly fairy tale retelling. And Adventurer Mage, which is a fantasy adventure, a cozy fantasy adventure. The next question is, what inspired you to write it? So let's get started with the one that restarted my career, as it were, and that is The Wolf and the Hawk. I was kind of looking for a way to kind of get back into self-publishing. This book has never been queried. Like some people say, oh, you're a self-published author because nobody wanted your book. But no, this book was written specifically to sort of relaunch my career. I went with a fantasy romance because I knew that those were popular. And I know that seems a little bit meta of me. Usually I kind of write to where my passion is, but this book is actually a re-exploration of a book that I wrote when I was younger. And that book I wrote with absolutely no notion of publishing or popularity. So this book was already in my mind, in my heart, and I was like, I want to revamp that one. I want to take it in a new direction, and that's why I wrote The Wolf and the Hawk. Then we have Boots. Boots has existed for quite some time, and the inspiration for Boots was that I love fairy tale retellings, first of all, and I wanted to do one, but I didn't want to do one of the most common ones like Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast again. And I've always enjoyed the story of Puss in Boots. The original fable has nothing to do with Shrek, okay? The original fable of Puss in Boots, and this book came about because I just started asking a lot of questions, like what is up with the miller's son? Why does the world keep shitting on him? So I gave them a reason. And what is the deal with this princess? Why doesn't she even get a name? Wouldn't she like some agency and something to do in the story? And thus Princess Joanna was born. And I just kind of asked questions until I got a book out of it. And Adventurer Mage is my passion project. This is my baby. This is my child. Even if you hate it, it doesn't matter to me because I love it. I love it with my whole heart. Adventurer Mage was my 2020 book, okay? You all know, when you hit 2020 and the world was falling apart and you just needed something to bring you some joy, I wrote this book about it. In fact, I wrote 3 books about it. There are 2 more books in the series that will be coming out. Adventurer Mage, I was just coming off of trying to write the sequel to The Wolf and the Hawk and failing and just being really dissatisfied with it and having felt like I was forcing it and I wasn't enjoying myself. And I went through the beta process and it was no, nobody else is liking this. My beta readers agree this book is just very flawed. So I set it aside and instead, I just started writing the thing that I wanted to write. A goofy idea that I had in my head for the first 3 chapters of this book. Only 3 chapters. And I said to myself, it's okay if you only write 3 chapters and go then do something else. And instead I wrote 3 books. So I think I was pretty passionate about it. And finally, Second Floor. Second Floor is my most pantsed book. This book, usually when I write, I have a plan of some kind, some basic idea of where I'm going, what's the ending gonna be, what are some key scenes in the middle. No idea. No idea. I just started writing it. Started writing about this guy named Matthias. He's getting his first solo apartment on the second floor. And I knew the genre. I knew it was going to be a supernatural thriller. But I had no idea what the supernatural element was going to be. Is it going to be a ghost? Is it going to be a demon? Is it going to be something else? We don't know. It's as much a surprise to me as it is to you. So, second floor. Second floor on Wattpad took off. And so I was like, you know, I need to publish this little novella. Apparently there's something about it that people love. So I polished it up. It needed a great deal of polish, and now here it is. The next question is easy. Is your book traditionally or self-published? I am a self-published author, and I don't, at the moment, have any plans to try to dip my toes back into traditional publishing. I did try it for a little while, decided against it. I'm very, very happy, honestly, as a self-published author. Question 5, what do you love about your book? Okay, let's pick one thing each. In this one, I love how much my readers relate to the main character of Matthias. With my beta readers, it was either they don't relate to him at all, or they were like, get out of my head, I am Matthias and Matthias is me. I love everything about Adventurer Mage. Everything. In Boots, I love that I wrote very well in the point of view of a cat. I've gotten many compliments on it, that Boots is a very cat-like cat, and people loved his point of view. And The Wolf and the Hawk, I love my main character, Ryoni. She is a big, badass lady who could fold you in half, and she's great. Question 6, what other books does yours resemble? So we're talking comp titles here, and I'm really bad at that. I don't know. It's a fantasy romance. It resembles probably other fantasy romances, low spice, arranged marriage. I don't know. This resembles Puss in Boots, the fable. This also is definitely for fans of books like Ella Enchanted or The Goose Girl. So if you're looking for a retelling that can be a little bit dark, but is also pretty family friendly, and being family friendly does not mean that it's not complex. So again, like Ella Enchanted vibes. I think I mentioned at one point, but this is basically if the vibes of Howl's Moving Castle had a baby with elements from Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't know what this is similar to. I hesitate to say anything like Neil Gaiman because the writing is very, very different. But some of the vibes maybe are a little bit there with the found family and the emphasis on characters and like the supernatural element. Maybe. I don't know. I'm bad at comps, okay? Question 7. What is the scene or thing you were most excited for your readers to read? So there is like a twisty bit at the end of this where you're trying to like figure out where certain characters fit into certain elements. I'm trying to be vague here. And I loved my beta readers' reactions to that, especially to a certain element of that. If you've read the book, you probably know what I'm talking about. What I was most excited for readers to read in this is not necessarily a certain scene, but it is just Maeve and Valentine's friendship and seeing a platonic soulmate situation just unashamedly on the page. They will never be a romantic couple, but their bond is probably stronger than that of a romantic couple. And I just was so excited to be able to write that. It's fun writing from the point of view of a cat. Check it out. Like, it's not cringy. I know some people are like, ew, I won't read from the point of view of an animal. It's always so cringy, but I don't think this one is. Give it a shot. I think, personally, one of my favorite scenes is what I call the cow scene, which is actually a scene that was added later. After betas read it, they said, we would like at least one more really solid scene of interaction and getting to know each other between Ryoni and her love interest, Xander. And so I added the cow scene, which you're gonna have to read and find out what that is. But it turned out really charming and really sweet and showed how they would work together as a couple if they actually would get their heads out of their asses and get together. The next question is, what is something readers may have missed or not picked up on when reading your book? I'm probably not gonna go through all of them, but just thinking about Adventurer Mage. I put a lot of like weird little Easter eggs in my book that make me chuckle and probably don't matter to anyone else. Like every now and then one of my books will have something with an obscure name that references a fandom that like maybe one person will recognize, but there's also just weird little aspects that I put into the books. And one of them is names in this book. There is a character for whom plants are very important, and just because I named all of the people that are also important to her after plants. I do weird shit like that. If anybody notices it, cool. But also, there are often fandom references very stealthily hidden. Sometimes not so stealthy, but often very stealthily hidden in my books. Question 9, how much, if any, research went into your book/series? So I'm just specifically going to mention Boots because there's a scene in Boots involving building a bridge. And I had to learn, I didn't have to, but I wanted to. I went and learned how in medieval times they would have built a stone bridge over a river. I still know probably way more than I need to know about that. And will people pick up on the fact that I learned so much about how people made stone bridges in medieval times? Probably not. But I researched it. Question 10 is, was your story set in or inspired by places you've loved/visited? Well, I have visited England and Wales, which is where Adventure Mage is pseudo-set. Like, the location is very heavily based on Victorian England and Wales. And then second floor is just straight up set in Wisconsin in my hometown. So I should say so. Question 11, what in your book comes from writing what you know? Well, second floor is pretty easy. It's set in my hometown in Wisconsin in winter, because Wisconsin, we're famous for our winters here. And the main character is a struggling author. I am Matthias and Matthias is me. I'm one of those people. But also pretty much any of my books involve horses. Any of my fantasy books will have horses in them, and I know a lot about horses, and I've been around horses my entire life, and I own a horse right now myself. Her name is Mouse. And so all of the horses in these books are very well sketched and are characters in their own right, because I am very horse knowledgeable. And that goes for animals in general in my books, because I'm an animal lover and have had lots of different animals throughout my life. So if there's an animal in my book, I've probably owned one and have close experience with it. And finally, question 12, what did you learn from other authors that you were able to incorporate into your own book? So I am always learning from other authors. I am always picking up things that other authors are doing. I was very influenced as a young person by Tamara Pierce, so I do think that there are a lot of elements of Tamara Pierce's, especially her later writing, her better writing, quite frankly, that make it into a lot of my books. There's usually an animal companion for starters. The characters tend to be good companions for each other and get along, versus always having like contrived, overblown conflicts that don't make any sense when they could just talk to each other. That's very Tamara Pierce. I was also heavily influenced by Brian Jacques when I was younger. So a lot of times in my books, you'll find descriptions of food. And also in most of my fantasy books, I try to include at least one song, and that is homage to Brian Jacques, who was very influential to me when I was coming up as a young writer. But honestly, I am always studying what other authors are doing, because I feel like you're never done growing. You're never done leveling up your skill. And so if I see another author that I love and I can be like, what are they doing? Let me just see what they're doing. Let me study how they're making me love this book. Then I can incorporate it into my own books. But that was it for this tag. I hope it was entertaining. I do know that I don't really have like all of the information about my books kind of all in one place. So it's probably nice to have this video can kind of give you a little bit of information about my books in case you're interested in checking them out or have kind of always been like, what even does Julian write about? Even if none of these books end up interesting you, hey, at least you have the option. So I hope this was entertaining, and I hope that not too many of you have minded that, yes, I did do a tag. I did that. I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm got to do that every now and then. I'll keep it to a minimum, okay? But also, do remember that if you want exclusive content never seen here on the regular channel, I have a Patreon for that. And I am a developmental editor as well as an author. So if you'd like to get in on that action, you can hire me on Fiverr. Feel free to message me over there and ask me any questions that you might have. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Hey, I got my eye on you.
Water Tribe.
We're back again for more patrons. That's right, it's patron time. I've got my eye on you, patrons like
Gay Tutter,
Constantina, Laknunga, Ruin Queen of Oblivion, SB Boots, Martha Baggins, July, Bird Anonymous, Sunny Shy, Nico, Sarah, Cat, 78 Kilograms of Shade, Veda, Roma, Pansing Pony, Julius the Nice Dragon, Haley, Sam, Kira, Kohikaro, Mooney, Pudamancer, Kirsten, Bear, Jojo Bookish, Robin, Ursula, Caitlin, Jessica, KJ, Lafone, Amanda, Celia, Alyssa, Rita, Deborah, Afra, Melissa, Swamp Goblin Waifu, Ashley, Sophia, Maureen, Kit, Hidden Glade, Light Julie, Belle, Anne Sophie, Callison, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Rennie, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Lisa, and Sarah. Wow. Has anyone out there memorized my patrons? Who is saying them along with me at this point? That means that I've got so many loyal patrons who've been with me for such a long time, and you guys are the real GOAT out there. You rock.